Double stops are really great devices to use in your bass lines, fills and solos. All a double stop is where you play two notes at the same time. These two notes can be from anywhere, but they generally tend to come from chords. So I'm just going to show you three brief examples and just explain a little bit about what's going on there, all using double stop. So the first one is Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. So the chord shape here is an E dominant seventh. Don't worry too much if you don't understand these terms. I've got links elsewhere to explain them. I'll put them below the video. The root note of this is the E, 7th fret of the A string. The third of the chord is the 6th fret of the D string, that's G sharp. And the 7th of the chord, which gives this really cool sound, is the 7th fret of the D string, of the G string, sorry, which is the note D. And just those two notes on the G and the D strings together, that's the double stop, so it's, which is the E on the 7th fret. That's a really great example of double stops. Next one is a fill, and this is Rock With You by Michael Jackson, played by Louis Johnson. Now, I'll just play it. It's just a tiny bit in the middle of the song, it's just in the bridge where it goes. So it's that bit at the top there. Really, really cool there. Now that is the same chord shape as before, the dominant seventh, but instead of it being on the A string, the root now is on the E string. You don't play the root, but I'll just show you the chord and show you where this is coming from. So 11th fret of the E is E flat. That's the root of the chord. Then you've got the minor 7th of the chord, which is on the 11th fret of the D string. Then finally the third, or the 10th really, it's the third up the octave, and that's the 12th fret of the G string. So the double stop, as I said, is just two notes played at the same time. But if you know the chord, I don't know if you do know these chord shapes, but I'll put a link because I think I've got that somewhere on my site. So I'll give you that as well. So if you know all these chords, you can play just the top two notes and you've got your double stop. And here he's just sliding from one fret below and then back again. You can kind of learn this and then make your own fills up around it. I was just kind of thinking of one there. So if you're in E flat, and that's dominant seventh, so if you need to play a fill in a different chord type, then you need to learn that as well. So you've got your minor sevenths, your major sevenths. I'll make a sheet especially for this lesson, and again put a download link below. So the final example is one of my favourite bass lines, Don't Give Up by Peter Gabriel, played by Tony Levin, who's just probably one of my favourite bass players. I love everything that guy does, but this bass line is just really, really creative and melodic. I'll play the first bit of it. So these double stops are the bits at the top. And here, the song is in the key of C minor. So going from the 10th fret of the D string, the first few notes of the scale. So I'm just going fret 10, 12, 13 on the D string, and the same on the G string. And the double stops here are just in thirds. So what that means is just two notes separated by the distance of three notes. So if I play the first note on the scale and then three notes away from it, I get a third. And again, double stops played at the same time. So we've got the 10th fret of the D string and the 8th fret of the G string. So it's just a C on the 8th fret of the E string to the 10th fret of the A string. Got that double stop there, which is a minor third, and that's a major third. So what's that? 8th fret of the D string, 7th fret of the G string. I went up in thirds from a C minor scale, that's what Tony Levin did, that's how he came up with it. The idea really with any time that you listen to a bass line, of which you should do this a lot and transcribe and work out the bass line, if you kind of get under the bonnet of it, you can work out what the bass player was thinking at the time, and then you start to be able to incorporate that into your own ideas, into your own playing, which obviously really helps if you're making up bass lines or writing a bit of music, or just, you know, want to have some fun and make up your own things. So I don't know, if I wanted to make something up there, just experiment really, that's the name of the game. So you've got your 3 examples there of double stops. I was using, or not me, the bass players made this up, they were using dominant sevenths in the first 2 examples, then in that one just double stops played in thirds. Now there are lots of different types of chords, so for example a minor seventh, and you should learn those too, but let's download that sheet and I'll write down sort of the main ones. Really the idea, I think, is to learn every shape, every chord shape rooted on the A string and then the E string, so you have lots of different options. So for the E dominant seventh, we go back to that kind of first example. So you got the 7th fret A string, 6th fret D string, 7th fret G string. That would be it rooted on the A string. If I went to the E string and did the same chord, I've got this. So I've got the 12th fret of the E string, 12th fret of the D string, and the 13th fret of the G string. Now that's the chord I'm playing, but if I want the double stop, play the top 2 notes only. If I want a minor seventh, actually the very same shape as that, but just move the note on the D string on the 5th fret, move that down 1 fret to the 6th fret to the 5th fret. Kind of converts it into a minor seventh chord shape, right? Flea used some of these ideas in his bass lines. So download that sheet, get all the different chord shapes there and experiment. Listen to those 3 bass lines, don't give up, bullet in the head and rock with you. And start to listen out for double stops in playing and use it in your own playing. You'll have tons of kind of creative ideas coming from that.